President Trump coming out making a pretty loud statement telling the people of Iran, a lot of the protesters that are out there is happening. As we know, the sort of death toll that's happening right now is a bit disputed, but we know it's in the thousands at this point, saying to not stop and essentially to take over their country. You put Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions, save the names of the killers and the abusers. They will pay a big price. I've canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on its way. And then he put, make Iran great again, President Donald J. Trump. Kind of putting out a statement, not saying take care of it yourself, but at least pushing that narrative a bit, saying, we're not coming in here to run this country. You got something good going on. We see what's happening in the streets. Do what you need to do, finish the job.
And as we mentioned, these protests that have been going on, this is now in the third week, have seemed different. They've seemed more hopeful than we've seen really since 2009. I like the president's approach here, also putting it on the people, not like we're going to go in and cause regime change. It's saying, people, continue doing what you're doing. We've got your back. We're standing with you. Keep the names of those that are killing and abusing you, because their reckoning will be coming. But once again, this is at the same time where an Iranian official has told Reuters more than 2,000 people have been killed. So a very large number in and of itself. But the opposition is saying as many as 12,000 have been killed. So you're seeing this dueling narrative. Either way, a lot of people have been killed. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle of that number. Normally, the Iranian officials are going to try and downplay the numbers. But this also comes at a time where the State Department has put out an order to leave Iran now if you're an American citizen. Some people may be like, why are there American citizens there? Why? Well, I mean, there's a lot of Iranian dual nationals, people that fled or still have family there, Absolutely. That still are able to go to Iran.
Remember that Iran is the number one funder of terrorism. They fund the Houthis in Yemen. They fund Hezbollah in Lebanon. They fund Hamas in multiple places. And we know very clearly that this Iranian regime is always looking to wreak havoc and terror, especially on Americans. And so this is a threat that we see very clearly. We've been talking about for a long time. Thank God President Trump is somebody who is seeing this over and over and is not having it. And I believe that we are getting very close to the Iranian regime seeing the wrath of the United States finally come to it. Now, I don't say those words lightly. I am somebody who believes in the America First policy and no war, and we've got enough to concentrate on in the United States. But this issue clearly impacts Americans, our men and women overseas, and the terrorism issue that we've been fighting for a long time. So I see the Iran issue very differently than any other issue.
This is something that everyone around the world should be cheering on the people of Iran. And I think you're starting to actually see that, interestingly, in some of the people on the left that are all of a sudden, we talked about yesterday, them condemning Hamas. You're also seeing people like AOC saying, I stand with the people of Iran that are in the streets. It's her party that propped up this dictatorship for even longer. When the people in the streets in 2009 had a real opportunity, her president, Barack Obama, and her later president, Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time, did nothing to like she is doing. Did not say, I support the people in the street, taking over their country, taking control of their lives. Instead, they let it play out, and then they rewarded the mullahs and the Ayatollah with that Iranian nuclear deal, which gave them lots and lots of money, not to restore their economy, but to further degrade the dollar, or their value of their currency. And what did they do with that money? They funded terror around the world. Houthi rebels. We're talking about Hezbollah. We're talking about Hamas on October 7th. We're talking about all the things that those groups do, not just in the Middle East, but in Central America, South America, assassination attempts on U.S. soil. That's what they did with the money that the Biden and Obama administrations gave back to them and allowed them to use. The president now is saying no more, is looking at further ways to cause economic pain on the Iranians. The Iranians were running to President Trump saying, let's have a meeting, because of the rhetoric that President Trump was saying, hey, you got to knock it off. Don't be killing protesters. No. And at first he's like, maybe we'll meet with them. Now he's saying no. Yeah. And we're going further.
And we know that's been President Trump's kind of MO, is he's happy to sit down with anybody, even if it's people he vehemently disagrees with or people who are dictators, whether it's him meeting with him or some people on his team. That is not uncommon for President Trump. It's actually probably more uncommon for him to say, I'm canceling everything and I'm not doing it anymore. What that means is there's probably no wiggle room here, and he also can read what the American people are saying. The American people want this push to happen. They would like to see a thriving Iran. Israel would like to see a thriving Iran. And a lot of the Middle East would.
And what we're also seeing is the president proposing a 25% tariff on countries that trade with Iran, but also do business with the United States. There's a lot of them out there. It may seem in our kind of American bubble like, oh, no one is doing business with Iran, but maybe North Korea and China and bad actors like that. But a lot do. A lot of South American countries. Brazil is a big trading partner with Iran. So big economies still do have economic relationships with Iran. So this is another move. And I actually really like this move to use the economic angle before jumping to some sort of military action. Because one, that's what I think a lot of President Trump's supporters would be in favor of sure, yeah, put pressure on the regime. Don't prop them up at a time like this. Go after where it's going to hurt the most, and that is economically. We also know that this entire protest movement actually started off as an economic protest. It started in the bazaars in Iran, where they were upset about the economy. The rial, the money in Iran, has plummeted in value. And what you're now looking at is a situation that it has gotten even larger. It has included the freedom movement trying to take back the country of Iran, but it started primarily as economic. So this other angle that the president is saying is proposing 25% tariff on countries trading with Iran could be another way to really go after the mullahs that have really just strangled the country's economy for so long. I like this angle, but that's also something that could take a little bit longer for it to really feel the pain with the mullahs of saying, okay, you're going to implement it, then demand drops in these other countries, they start pulling back. That could take a little while. So it's not an immediate thing that you can get results from, but it is a more outside the box, novel way to go about this. This is at the same time that we know that the Biden administration and the Obama administration almost gave some global legitimacy to the Ayatollah and his regime by doing these deals, by doing the Iran nuclear deal, trying to get back into that under the Biden administration, because it relieved sanctions. So it gave more money for them to fund their terror around the world. I think you can draw a through line from those deals straight to October 7th, because they had the funds to do it. We also know the Iranians the IRGC helped Hamas plan it. So once again, by strangling their economy at home, they are creating pain. But by the outsiders, the United States being able to put some economic pain on the actual mullahs, those running things, it could be a thing that drives them into more chaos and allows the protesters to really break through here.